I may speak in your greater.
Seated, and good morning. Good morning. My name is Della Wright. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees that's here at South Valley UU Society. In the words of Rumi, come, come, whoever you are. We here at South Valley add, you are welcome here, whether you come with laughter in your heart or tears in your eyes. No matter where you've been, no matter where you're going, you are welcome here. No matter what body brought you in the door, no matter who you love, you are welcome here. Whether you believe in God all of the time, or some of the time, or none of the time, you are welcome here. This is a community of open minds, loving hearts, and willing hands. You are welcome here at South Valley Unitarian Universalist Society.
Another welcome to South Valley Unitarian Universalist Society here this morning. All are welcome here. My name is Reverend Karen Madrone, and I am the interim minister here this year. My pronouns are she and hers. Our call to worship today is from the Reverend Alice Blair Wesley. Reverend Wesley gave the 2001 Men's Lecture on the importance of covenants to Unitarian Universalism. She writes, "We pledge to walk together in the ways of truth and affection, as best as we know them now, or may learn them in days to come, that we and our children may be fulfilled, and that we may speak to the world in words and actions of peace and goodwill." Let us sing together number 1012 in your teal hymnal, When I Am Frightened.
Thank you.
Our chalice lighting words in your order of service. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, for the light of truth, and for the energy of action. Thank you. You may be seated. Good morning. My name is Rebecca Britt. I am today's lay worship leader. The pronouns I use are she, her, and hers. I'd like to welcome you this morning to South Valley Unitarian Universalist Society. We're an intentionally diverse community. All are welcome here. We would like to extend an especially warm welcome to those of you who are visiting us for the first time. We're so glad you're here. We'd love to get to know you. This is a caring and supportive community. In the chapel at the back of the sanctuary, there is a book to write down your joys and concerns. Please feel free to share a joy or concern here. A member of our Caring Circle team will follow up with you. Excuse me. Children are always welcome in the sanctuary during the service. We also broadcast the service downstairs on our closed circuit TV in the nursery hall, and in the social hall. The nursery is staffed today. You're welcome to bring children up to the age of 3 downstairs. Today's service is an intergenerational service, which means we will all be worshiping together. After the service, everyone is invited downstairs for fellowship in the social hall. While you're there, check out the Happenings Hub, where you will learn about the many activities that are part of South Valley Youth Society. In addition, in the order of service, there are announcements that will help you learn about the ways to participate in the life of this community. As you begin, I ask that you please place your electronic devices in worship mode. Though we encourage you to take pictures, to post on Facebook and tweet, please do so quietly. Thank you. And now we'll begin the sharing of the warmth of the community. Please turn and greet your neighbor and welcome them into worship. Under the sea. So one day, under the sea, in an area that I realize makes no sense for anyone who understands marine life, but it does for this moment, there was a fish and a porpoise swimming together. And they came across this stretcher. Now the stretcher came from the kids' night a few days ago, but unfortunately it fell under the water, and they came upon it. Oh yeah, please do. And they thought, this is the stretcher. It looks like it may have been a Star Wars spaceship. And it's very dry. It was made of cardboard that can't get wet. And so as it came into the sea, yes, the porpoise and the fish swam along, and they had been talking as they went, and they thought about their community of marine life, of flounders and crabs and sharks and all sorts of things that were friends. And they thought, man, we don't have a place to go together, to be together. But they found this stretch and they thought, this is the place. This is where we're going to go. So during this story, there's going to be a few times where I want to ask questions of you guys, but I want you to raise hands, and then I'll bring the mic to you, okay? Are you ready? So they were talking, what should we name this place? Do you have an idea for what they should name this place? Come on up, let's meet each other. What do you think?
I think watership.
Watership. So they decided together, thank you so much, to name this place Watership. And they thought it was a great name, so they told the other marine life all about it, and they started coming to Watership. And at Watership, they played hide and seek. They had classes making sea glass crafts, and they came together for meals. And they were so excited, they forgot to do something important. They forgot to talk about what they wanted their community to be like. So some silly things started happening. During one craft night, Crab used all the blue seashells, even though he knew that Flounder really liked them. And Flounder had really hurt feelings. And they decided they wanted to decorate their community. And some people wanted to have seashells from the surrounding area. And some people were really upset by this. Some people, marine life. Some marine life were really upset by this because it was disturbing the environment. And they realized they didn't have something to talk about, of like a uniting idea that told them what to do. They found a book about Unitarian Universalism that sank to the bottom of the sea. And they learned about covenants. A waterproof book. Now, of course, covenants are around lots of places, but that's where they learned about it. And a covenant is an agreement among people, or in this case, marine life. Covenants help people decide how they want to act and what is important to them. The Watership community decided they need to decide what was most important to them and how to be in community with one another. So now, I'm going to have some help writing down the covenant from Leo. So Leo is now a fish, you can write. And I need your help with raised hands. What do you think would be important for them to decide about their community? Does anyone have any ideas? And these are kind of expectations, which is what the way that people think, the fish think things should go. Any ideas to raise your hand with? Yes, let's do it. That's okay, the fish didn't either. They were all kind of quiet for a while. And then one fish had the idea, what if part of our covenant is we communicate when we're feeling upset? So that was one part of the community. We in this community will communicate when we're feeling upset. Maybe another thing was about how to share. Does anyone have any ideas of what they could say about sharing? It's a hard one. You know what? It took the marine life a lot of meetings and some frustrated feelings to come up with their covenant. So Leo is writing down, we talk to each other when they feel, ooh, good word, he's writing frustrated. Frustrated means the thing that you want and wish was happening isn't happening. And it's normal to feel frustrated in community. It's normal, any community, things are a little silly. Even the best ones that you care about so much. So what else? Let's think. Is there any rules in your classrooms? What's a rule in your classroom? Leo? Don't yell. Do you know what? It should really hurt feelings, so should we add that to their covenant? We don't yell.
in the classroom I have, the rule is don't fight.
Don't fight.
Don't hit.
Don't hit. So what about, for both of those things, we don't intentionally harm each other, we don't hurt each other on purpose. Yeah, we don't hit. So Leo, can you hold up, can you put it back on the stand? I understand, so this way people can see. So at this point, the community is doing pretty well because we have these clear expectations from the covenant for how they want to do it. So things look pretty good in this community, but we're going to check back in with them a little later. So we're going to have time for LEs number 2. Yeah, so we'll see you soon. Okay, go ahead and head back to your grown-ups.
And now we are going to hear a South Valley story.
Hi, my name is Annika Searles. I've been coming here for 16 years, as long as I can remember. So I didn't really have a say in why I started coming, but my whole life I keep choosing to come back. For me, this community is people like Brenda, Maureen, and Sue, and Casey, who I've known forever. It's people like Anna Renshaw, and Lorelai, and Peggy, and Christy. It's the people who've helped raise me and the people who've shown me who I want to be in the world. And I keep coming back here because no matter what, and no matter what's going on in the world, I know that the people here are always going to be there for me. I stay here because even when I don't know how to be in the world, and I don't know how to figure that out, there's always somebody here who's either willing to help me figure it out or just sit with me in that uneasiness. And I haven't been able to find that anywhere else. There's nowhere else where I can be whoever I want to be, and everyone is there to support me no matter what. My whole life I've had this congregation with me, and I wouldn't trade that for anything. This church helped me figure out who I wanted to be, and that's invaluable.
Thank you so much, Monica. I'll now share our offering words, and in the spirit of serving our wider community, we at South Valley split our Sunday morning offering with a charitable organization that aligns with our values and principles. For January and February, we have chosen the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, Salt Lake Branch, which is the NAACP. The NAACP is a civil rights organization that aims to improve the political, educational, social, and economic status of minority groups. They work to eliminate racial prejudice, to raise awareness of the adverse effects of racial discrimination, and to take lawful action to ensure its elimination. They also promote voter registration and provide education scholarships. Will you join me in saying the following words printed in the order of service for our offering? We are this church. We are its hands, its heart, its voice. Together we share the wealth of this community and sustain it with our gifts.
Of a far off place,
Please join in the unison reading of the covenant, which is inside of your order of service on the upper right side, underneath the mission statement. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and our service to the world is love in action. We covenant to build a religious community that is guided by love, sustained by respectful relationships, and committed to action to make a better world. We celebrate the common purpose whenever we gather and do our best to abide by this covenant.
construction because watership got so big, they had to build more space. Because fish, marine life just kept coming. And as watership grew, some things changed. When it was first founded by porpoise and fish, hide and seek was the thing. Everyone was so excited about it. But then a lot of people who liked hide and seek left, and new people who liked scavenger hunts came. And that became the thing that they were really excited about. So things kept changing, but the covenant hadn't. The way they wanted to live hadn't. And Leo, can you read the covenant?
We talk to each other when they feel frustrated, sad, or other emotions. Don't raise your voice when other people are talking, and don't hurt each other intentionally.
Now this sounds different from South Valley's covenant, largely because it's not South Valley, it's Watership. And it's not a religious community, and you know what? They kind of want to be more direct. Covenants can look really different from each other. But even though they had this covenant in place, there started to be problems. Everyone still wanted the blue sea glass. And there were a lot of disagreements about what should happen to the blue sea glass that was left over on craft night. But a conflict that kind of was causing a lot of problems was fish and porpoise. Fish and porpoise are very different animals. Porpoise is a sea mammal, which means porpoise has to go up to the water and do very different things than fish does. But fish started noticing that porpoise just kept going up to the water, and boy, did fish have really hurt feelings. But the problem was fish didn't talk to porpoise, and it started affecting their ability to be leaders, and there were other problems like this with other beings that weren't paying attention to the covenant and were really holding on to hurt feelings. And what happened was sea life started leaving our watership, and that caused a lot of hurt feelings. So what do you think they should have done, my friends? Can you raise your hand if you have an idea? Immediately, 2 ideas. All right, Rex, what's your name in the red shirt? Tell me again. I'm going to hear from Rex first. What's your name? Rayleigh. So one at a time. Here you go. You first. What should they do?
Not be mean to each other.
Mm-hmm. Not be mean.
Do what they want to.
Whoa. Very conflicting ideas. And that could cause some challenges. Anyone else have a thought of what they should do? So I think that's probably the case. I bet there were beings in Watership who thought that they should just do what they want to do. And some of them might have been really attached to the covenant. So maybe they called a meeting for all the animals that were in Watership to come talk about the covenant. And I bet what happened is that a lot of them looked at the covenant and thought, whew, I do believe in this. This is really important to me. And they just needed to remind themselves this is the way they wanted to go. So maybe afterwards, fish said, porpoise, it really hurts my feelings that you're not at all the events. I wish you were here. And porpoise might say, I didn't know you were upset about that. I can't change that you go to the water, but maybe I get to the surface. But I can tell you from now on. And you know what? There was a lot of resolutions like that. The thing about Watership is that it's a really special community, and no one wanted to just let it go. So as they started addressing what was going on and following their covenant, they were able to keep caring for each other and being in community. And every once in a while, porpoise and fish might think, man, I wonder what our lives would have been like if Kid Night hadn't happened and Kean Barnes hadn't let his ship fall into the water. And I'm so glad we're here together. And that's what happened. They just lived in covenant and community. All right, that's it for our story. If you want to visit porpoise and fish and Watership afterwards, you're welcome to. But for now, head on back to your families. Yes, Leah?
At the beginning of the story, you said that the watership was too big, so they had to continue building it. How would that work out?
That would work out that I'm a person who says things wrong sometimes. And then most people understand, but I'll correct it. It was too small, so they had to keep building it. That's what happened. All right, thank you. Hi, Jen.
I really want to thank all of our children who took an active part in our service today. We are trying really hard for our intergenerational services to have multiple parts so that our children can feel more a part of this community. I wonder, have you noticed that Unitarian Universalism is a creedless religion. What do you think that means? What that means is that we don't have a standard shared belief test in order to be part of this community. Your participation in this community does not hinge on a specific faith statement or belief. Unitarian Universalism is a religion where Jews, Christians, Hindus, atheists, agnostics, and pretty much anybody else can all worship here together. The challenge in that is that there is a myth, I'm going to say clearly that this is a myth, that in UUism you can believe whatever you want. That is not true. What is true is that we are here together, and that what would be hard is for if people had particular fundamentalist beliefs where they felt like other people had to believe like them. Once you cross into a line that says, hey, I am part of this and everyone must believe like I do, then that belief is not welcome here. So just for a little bit of clarity, when people say, oh, you can believe anything, that is not true. Let's back up and think about that. For example, by the end of my second chaplaincy unit in the summer of 2018, I had a new understanding of God as perhaps a deity that I could relate to and call on when needed. It was a totally new understanding of God that I was not prepared for. But what I know for sure is that my personal belief system is not one that I can say we must all believe this way. We try not to use words like all in everyone in our religious communities here. I hold my beliefs slightly in the larger UU community, knowing that religious beliefs are ever evolving for all of us. So if we don't all share the exact same religious beliefs, what keeps us here in community? It's our covenant. Just like I talked a few weeks ago about how each UU congregation writes their own bylaws and policies, they also write their own covenants. I'm guessing some of you were here when the covenant that we read earlier was written. You might have some memories of that and what that process was like. You were part of creating those words and putting them together. There are similarities in covenants across congregations, but each one is slightly different based on the personality of the congregation and what they value. The covenant we read early is very much values-based. It is a statement of who you are. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and how you are in the world. Our service to the world is love in action. And then you go on to say that you intend to build a religious community that is guided by love, sustained by respectful relationships, and committed to action to make a better world. This statement is both internally focused and external, just like the first sentence. I love that the last sentence begins with saying that whenever you gather, I love that, whenever you gather, you will celebrate the common purpose. You have built celebration into your covenant. And you will do your best to abide by this covenant. This is a really beautiful statement of who you are and who you want to be. Covenants are always about striving towards our better selves, and I definitely see that in your covenant statement that you created. The covenants of the religious exploration classes that are a little bit more specific. As you've heard from the covenant creating today, they say things like, we will not hit each other. We will not say mean things. We will not be mean to each other. So things, they are more very specific and directed. And so those tend to be called behavioral covenants, because it's not about values and who we aspire, but who we are. We have this action, we are not going to do this, or we are going to do this. So these are two different types of covenants. South Valley itself, as a congregation, does not have a behavioral covenant right now, and many congregations actually do. The result is that there isn't a method for discussing when someone is out of covenant. For example, what does it mean when someone isn't acting from love or maintaining a respectful relationship? And how someone would come back into covenant. If there is such a thing here, I have yet to find it. Point it out to me if I'm missing it. I believe that having a way to recognize when people are out of covenant and a way to restore people back to covenant is just as important, if not more so, than having a covenant itself. Our covenant reminds us that we are voluntarily choosing to be together. No one is forcing you to be here. Is that correct? You are all showed up voluntarily, except for really little people who probably didn't have a choice. All of you chose to walk in today of your own free will. With all of our differences based on gender, culture, age, religious backgrounds, race, education, and everything else that lists differences between people, it is our covenant that says specifically how this particular congregation is going to be together. The bylaws are the legal document, but the covenant is the spiritual document. It is the statement of hopes and values. The bylaws state the organizational and legal requirements that say that we exist and what the rules are that we are going to follow so that we stay in good standing with, for example, the state of Utah and so on, making sure we're following all of our proper laws. However, it's our covenant that says how we are going to be together. It's a very different thing. It's like saying we're going to be in relationship, but then once you're in relationship, how are we going to actually do this? That covenant is how we create that. When I say that our covenant is spiritual, I know that some of you possibly are cringing at that word. Sometimes you acts like we came up with the concept of covenant all on our own, completely removed from history and culture. Well, groups of people have been making covenants between themselves and God since the very early days of people building intentional communities. We are definitely not the first group of people who decided how we were going to be together. What makes us different is that each congregation makes a covenant within itself, and in Unitarian Universalism, we don't put God as the center of the covenant. In addition, the covenant isn't handed down by either a higher spiritual power or anyone from the Unitarian Universalist Association. Like everything else, this is all ours. There is no bishop, no pope, no deacons. We are responsible for the world we create and for staying in community when we hit roadblocks. The other day, I was listening to a podcast where Dan Savage, a relationship advice columnist, was interviewed. Dan and his husband had been together for 26 years. He described situations when he learns of couple friends who have broken up. He told of asking them, well, what caused you to break up? What happened? And then these people tell him about the fight they had. It was this thing, this person did this. And then he responds with, oh, well, we've had that argument too. It was a doozy, man, it was big. But what he doesn't say to this friend, but what he did say to the interviewer, was that he and his husband are still together because they keep on not breaking up. It's a very simple concept. We just keep on not breaking up. Clearly, a couple that has been together for 26 years has been through a lot, but what they value more than being right in an argument is being together. I keep mulling over that in my head. We keep on not breaking up. So how does this relate to our faith community? To me, it means we stay in the conversation, even when we're in conflict. We say that our relationship together is more important than each of us as individuals being right. It says we are going to figure out how to stay in relationship, even when we have different points of view. We are going to grow our own spiritual maturity, so we learn not to take things personally, and we foster our curiosity. We put community, emotional and physical safety above the needs of individuals, while also practicing radical preemptive hospitality. It's a very hard thing to do. We are nuanced, thoughtful people who can see multiple points of view. We are people who are continuously learning to live from a more expansive heart, more love, more caring. Towards that end, I have I've talked with Inez Corbanca, the Caring Circle Chair, and many folks here in leadership positions about trying something new. I was noticing that we don't always hear how you all are doing. We say we are a caring community, and I truly believe that from what I have seen. But I also notice that it's hard sometimes to find out what's going on with folks. So, following a pattern that I've seen in other congregations, several of us put our heads together and we came up with creating this card. This is a new pastoral care card that we're putting on this back table underneath the chalice painting. And so this is a way for us to find out what's happening with you and then to follow up. So please know that, like everything else that we do, this is an experiment. We'll see how it works and then give us feedback. So please know that we are not attached to things being exactly so. And then one more thing I wanted to share with you is that with support of Scott Renshaw as the membership chair and other leaders, that we've agreed to start a new practice of trying a different kind of visitor card so we can get information, so we can better support people who are visiting and we can respond better. So this helps us be more connected in a more caring community in support of each other. A couple of weeks ago, I gave a sermon about love and how love is what we really are here for. This is one of the reasons why this is an organizational thing, but it really is about love. This is what we are about. I noticed that the word love is in your covenant twice. Truly, at the core of our theology is love. So, taking into account that Valentine's Day just passed on Friday, I would like to surprise you because sometimes love has surprises with a little sweet things, some chocolate, and there are a few other things in addition to that. In a few minutes, the ushers are going to walk forward and share these sweets. Like all of us, there are several varieties. I also included Tootsie Rolls for those of you who don't eat chocolate. When you get your piece of candy, I need you to listen to this part especially. I ask you to just hold on to it. Just hold on to it. Can you do that? Put it in your hand, but don't open it and don't eat it. Okay? This is the first step. So one person will have a basket that has some Tootsie Rolls, and we also have some sugar-free Reese's as well. So if you need that. So the ushers are now going to walk through and share some chocolate. And just hold on to it.
I understand that.
Very hard decisions I see happening back there. Please take something, because it's also for, you'll see it in a minute, just hold on. So take something even if you're not going to eat yourself. service, I would like you to just take a moment to reflect silently on how it feels to receive something, especially something totally unexpected. None of you knew this was going to happen today. Just take a moment. Receiving something is one way that we are here in community today. There are many opportunities to receive. You have received the gifts of music and community and people who work together here. Can you think of something you have received in this community just by being here? But what about giving? What are the ways that we give to each other and to the community as a whole? One way we give is through our pledges. Next week, we will begin the official kickoff of the stewardship campaign. So to give you a little practice in giving, I would like you to take your piece, your treat, and give it to somebody that you did not come with. Okay? It can't be somebody sitting next to you. Take just a second to give your piece to someone you didn't come with. Don't give your top of the stage. Does everyone have a piece? Great. Now slowly unwrap it and reflect on both giving and receiving. Something that happens intentionally in community. You may now eat your sweet. While you're doing that, I want to tell you a story about a scarf. I normally wear a stole, but today I wanted to tell you about this. A friend of mine gave this to me when I was in seminary. At the end of my second year, it was the end of her time, she was about to graduate. And so she was having a lot of conflicted feelings because her family wasn't supporting her in her efforts in school. And they didn't believe in her. And so even though she was an excellent student, but they couldn't wrap their minds around a woman who wanted to go into teaching and religion. And so myself and other people, we encouraged her and we're like, you deserve this, you worked really hard. And we encouraged her to take care of herself, especially right before the graduation and everything. And so I just looked at that as this was just something you do for a friend. You encourage and support people. And then the next year, she was there one more year for another program. I was in my third year and I was doing a lot of commuting. I wasn't on campus very much. And then one day, we ran into each other, just totally accidentally. And she said that she had been carrying this scarf around in her backpack for months, waiting to see me, so that she could give this to me. And so I may never see Thelma ever again, but I have this as a reminder of both giving and receiving, the relationships that we build together. In this community, we give and receive. We are in need and we give to others. But we always live from our covenant, and remember, we are choosing to live in love. Let us join together in singing number 1021, Lean on Me. The choir is going to come up to the front. Go ahead. Check, check.
in a blur. All that time, never truly seeing things the way they were. Now you're here, shining in the starlight. Now you're here, suddenly I know. If you're here, it's crystal clear. I'm where I'm meant to go. And at last I see the light. And it's like the fog has lifted. And at last I see the light. And it's like the sky is blue. And it's warm and real and bright. And the world has somehow shifted. All at once, everything looks different. Here with all of you. Here with all of you.
Now the choir will stand and join us at the front for our closing hymn.
Please rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn number 1021.
If
We extinguish this chalice, but not the warmth of community, the light of truth, or the energy of action. We hold each other in our hearts until we meet again.
As you go into the world, through your week, everybody you interact with, remember we are one and we are loved. Amen. May it be so.